Hi, in this video we're going to be talking about Grenzo and how to build him in regard to competitive EDH games. But I might go ahead and clear things out that currently Grenzo is not a tier 1 commander because of two simple reasons. But the reason I am making this video is because I'm starting to see a future for him, depending on if Wizards keep printing cards that I'm soon going to show you. But first, the two reasons why Grenzo isn't really getting it in there, except for casual games, is this. 1. Grenzo is just better. He's a good mono-red commander that you can build a stable combo deck out of. 2. Edric Spymaster of Trest, or just Tymna together with any sort of partner commander, is also doing the same thing, but just doing it better. It doesn't get more complicated than that. If you wanna run a good mono-red deck, Grenzo or Kiki and yes, maybe Perforos is kind of currently the best options. And if you wanna run a deck that is playing aggressive and drawing a lot of cards, just play Edric. And if you wanna play a strong combo deck that draws cards, play aggressive, and has a lot of hatebears, just play Tymna. But if you wanna run a deck that doesn't win with combo, that attack a lot with creatures, has a good way of destroying combo, and is trying to play a bit stacks orientated, Grenzo is something for you. Currently, the deck I am about to present to you isn't really top tier, but it is fun to play, and every deck doesn't really have to be the best possible one. However, I think this is as strong as you can make a Grenzo deck, give and take. There are two cards that Wizard of the Coast has printed that have made me think of a future of the possibility of making Grenzo great, and that is Harsh Mentor and Rampaging Ferocidon. These two are mono-red hatebears. And what is a hatebear? Most commonly white or green creature that prevent players from playing Magic, or I might say, prevent people from comboing off. I think that Wizard of the Coast have just figured out how to make mono-red hatebears. Now, how many games have you lost to someone making unlimited amount of tokens with haste and declaring them attackers? Or how many games have you lost to Aetherflux Reservoir? If that little raptor is on the battlefield, those combos doesn't work. It's the same with Harsh Mentor. There is a lot of decks that want to do an activation of an artifact unlimited amount of times. And this is how I think we should build Grenzo. Grenzo wants creatures to attack with, to get its little neat triggers. But we need to stop our opponents from reaching their combo and winning. And cards like Harsh Mentor gives us both. Cards like Goblin Rabblemaster will give us a lot of tokens, and that will potentially give us a lot of Grenzo triggers. And sure, we will destroy a lot of cards from their opponent's deck, but that will not be enough. Because in most cases, you will hit cards that player don't care about, and cards you don't care about either. And here comes the problem. There isn't enough mono-red hatebears. Let's compare with Tymna. Tymna is often partnered up with Cedar of Condor to make creatures with power 2 or less unblockable. That gives you white and green color identity. Now you simply put in every hatebear you are allowed to play, and preferably those with power 2 or less. What that deck now becomes is a deck that will burst out small creatures that make the game longer and harsh to play, stacks as it is. And together with Tymna, you will draw a lot of cards. And this deck is valid and strong for the only reason that Wizard has printed so many different white and green hatebears, stacks creatures that is. But let's pretend that Wizard of the Coast would print more variants of these two creatures, Harsh Mentor and Rampaging Ferocidon. Then Grenzo might become valid. And what is interesting is that, as to say, an EDH burn deck would be made. Grenzo has a lot of things others don't. He has a very interesting ability. First, he can goad creatures, and that is cute, but it's the second ability that stands out and make him valid. Each time a creature deals combat damage to an opponent, you can exile one card from the top of that library. Now, if you do hit enough times, you are eventually going to hit a combo card, and that can make that player being unable to win. How nice, isn't it, to attack with just one creature and exile, let's say, a laboratory maniac. Oops, was that card important to you? And then that opponents concede. Now, stacks makes games longer and will give you more time to hit people in the face. And this is what we want. We are going to enter games where our opponents plan to win between turn 4 to maybe 8. And we are not winning until much later than that. So what we need is to stop all kinds of stuff we don't like from happening. I think this is the best way to think if you don't like combo. And I think Grenzo is one great commander if you hate to losing to combo. Because you can become a combo player's nightmare. We're kind of building a meta deck. A deck that hates on combo. A deck that will destroy on our opponent's library and denying key cards. A deck that puts a lot of hate, yes, hate, I hate you combo cards into play. Cards that also burn you. Harsh Mentor has 3 things actually. He is a creature, and that is just what Grenzo needs. He prevents player from comboing off, but he also burns people, and will slowly help you win with damage. The only problem is, the cards don't exist yet. But the road isn't that long. Red has 2 of the strongest stacks cards in the game. Blood Moon. This card will single-handedly kill the Hermit Druid deck that doesn't play a single basic land. But it will also really hurt a lot of decks that run a lot of colors. But also, Stranglehold. The part where it prevents our opponents from taking extra turn is not this major thing. But stopping them from searching their library, that is something really. Just think about it. How many times have one of your opponents searched his or her library in your Commander games? Searching library is something people do a lot in Commander games. I think we can agree on that. And therefore, take a look at Widespread Panic. Whenever a spell or ability causes controller to shuffle his or her library, that player puts a card from his or her hand on top of his or her library. This isn't really awesome, but it is something. And actually, against certain decks, this is going to wreck them. But I am sure you didn't think about Magus of the Moon. I haven't mentioned him until now. It's kind of an old card. It's a creature and a blood moon. It can't get any better than that. But there are a couple of weird ones out there. Stigma Lasher. Now this one is only good up against Aetherflux Reservoir. However, it is a creature for 2, so it's never useless. And Aetherflux Reservoir is indeed a good deck. And don't forget about the burn staple in Modern, Eidolon of the Great Revel. This creature will indeed prevent some infinite cast combos, but we are looking at it for its great burning effect. Most of our opponents will be casting low-cost cards, and this will help us speed up the kill. We need to eventually kill our opponents, and burn isn't that bad to consider. Ad Nauseam and Necropotence is indeed strong cards in EDH. Now, we also has a couple of ways to hate on lands and keep on burning. Suzu the Punisher and Tunnel Agnes. There isn't many combo decks that want to burst out an amazing amount of lands. But many decks in EDH are green and those tend to ramp out a lot of lands, at least in casual games. These creatures are indeed still creatures and will help you with Grenzo triggers, but they will also do some burn damage to our opponents. We also have Ash Zealot. Now, I don't see a world where this creature will have a lot of impact, but I do see that in games it will have maybe 1 or 2 triggers. Some decks contain flashback cards. However, I think this card is kind of a bad and should be replaced eventually. This is one of my favorite red control cards in the game, Viashino Heretic. He has a great effect that you can use over and over to destroy artifacts and deal damage on the same time. However, he will suffer from summoning sickness and need to stay untapped and requires 2 mana, so he's not that fast. But I still believe he should be almost auto-included in decks like this we are building right now. Urabrask the Hidden is another red stacks commander alternative. However, I believe Grenzo is the better one. Grenzo has a card drawing ability and comes cheaper. Urabrask is kind of expensive and doesn't have an effect that is great, but it is something. Now, we can see that things aren't looking great with our mono-red hatebears. Most of them can't guarantee an effect that stops our opponents from comboing off, but there is a bunch of artifacts that can step in and do the job. I think Null Rod and Torpor Orb is a must-have, at least Torpor Orb. This will effectively stop almost every combo deck that is out there. Now, there is so many non-creature artifacts that are indeed amazing. However, they aren't creature, and that is making us a bit unhappy. We want cards with multiple purpose. However, some cards like Torpor Orb and Relic of Progenitus are so good that we just need to play them anyway. Great news though, there is some usable artifact creature with interesting stacks effect. Say hi to Phyrexian Revoker and Lodestone Golem. These two are actually good cards. Lodestone Golem will help out against Storm and other spell slinger decks, while Phyrexian Revoker can stop, let's say, Kiki-Iki. But it will also be good versus all commanders that rely on using the commander activation, like Cisse or Arkham Dagson. These two creatures I am not super happy about. Their stacks effects are great, especially Void Veneer does help us even get past blockers. However, they cost 9 mana, and that is a lot. Many of my games I never reach 9 mana, but sometimes I do succeed in making the game long, and these creatures can sometimes seal the deal. Many decks have trouble with Void Veneer. Oblivion Sour is however auto-included in every Grenzo deck no matter what. Grenzo will end up putting a lot of lands in exile, trust me on that. Oblivion Sour will simply steal those lands after that. In most cases, you will end up getting more lands than what you paid for to cast Oblivion Sour. The last card to mention before going through the entire deck is Pixies. We don't care about our deck at all, our opponent does. The plan is to eat away random cards and never sacrifice Pixies. It will exile one card times number of opponents every turn, and that is even better than what Grenzo does. Many of my games, people have searched through their deck after a combo card and then figuring out that the Laboratory Maniac is gone from Pixies.